from Governor Palin. So. Great hour in store for you, and so let me get started right away if I can. These polls are, sponsored by the great Washington Times, an institution that we all care for and respect, and is part of our conservative movement family. And I'm going to introduce to you its president, our friend Todd McDevitt. Tom?
Hey, I've got a blog up here.
See you later.
Thanks very much, Al. Hello, everyone. That was a great boxing match we had earlier today, huh? Well, congratulations. The eyes of the nation have been on us this last 3 days. All of you are part of a historic occasion that has done much to clarify the heart and the soul of the conservative movement, where we stand and where we're going. Thank you, and thank Al Cardenas for his great leadership of this conference. The Washington Times is marking its 30th anniversary this year. When our founders launched the Times in 1982, President Ronald Reagan was just 2 years in office. It was right at the height of the Cold War. Washington had only one newspaper in those days, the liberal, Blame America First, Washington Post. However, the leader of the free world read the Washington Times first every day for real. And the White House sent a car to fetch 3 bundles of our newspapers at 4 o'clock every morning. And of that we are most proud. Since then, as I think you know, the media has transformed into a 24/7 multi-platform monster with a taste for destruction. Major polls reveal that 70% of us say that the press is out of touch with average Americans. Only 44% trust the media to accurately and fairly report the news. And over 2/3 of us are weary of political bias. Only Congress gets worse favorability numbers than the press. Patriotic conservatives like you, however, continue to seek out and protect traditional America. They also seek a narrative that articulates genuine American values clearly and without apology. The Washington Times is a patriot's destination to provide evidence that America is strong, resilient, and intact, and that we will prevail as the true shining city on the hill, a 21st century beacon for the world. Every day, through our distinctive news and insightful opinion content, the Times provides argument, but it also provides answers, with credibility and a sense of what works, which was the true motto of the Reagan administration. In this epic battle to define America in 2012, the accuracy of the news and information that you consume about politics, policy, culture, and especially national security is absolutely critical. Please know that the Washington Times is your reliable resource wherever you live, and however you get your news. In fact, our greatest audience strength is now in regions in the country, around the country, where there are highest concentrations of conservatives. Our audiences have expanded to tens of millions due to our flagship daily newspaper, our digital channels of WashingtonTimes.com, Times247.com, our new explosive website, and our morning radio show from Washington, America's Morning News, and of course, as many of you know, our national weekly edition. Well, I'm here today to announce that this pivotal election year, that the Washington Times is committed to becoming the official newspaper of 2012. The Washington Times and American Conservative Union have long shared a profound concern to move this country in the right direction. That's why we're very proud to once again sponsor the Washington Times CPAC straw poll and now new national poll in the most important presidential election in modern history. Many would say that we've heard the very finest speeches ever yesterday from 3 presidential hopefuls. So I'm sure you're as excited as I am to learn the results of the 2012 Times CPAC poll. And of course, we have one more speaker coming up, She's a remarkable, courageous, and significant force. She's a remarkable, courageous, and significant force who has reshaped the American mindset. I think you know who I mean. So I will finish now by saying thank you for your time, and on behalf of all of us at the Washington Times, thank you for your tremendous work to improve our country. May God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you very much, Coleman. Thank you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman who's been doing our straw polls for 20-some years in a row, he still looks pretty young to me, right? But that's a fact. He's been here 20-some years in a row doing this for us at his own expense. And for that, we thank you, Tony. You know, for the first time in our history, you know, the comments have been made, said, well, what about your straw poll? And we've said, look, it's not scientific, but boy, what a great measuring stick of 10,000 conservative activists at the same place at the same time. But this year, such an important presidential year that we said, you know, let's add a national poll of conservatives and divulge those results at the same time we divulge the results of our straw poll and see where that takes us. So, without any further ado, let me introduce you to the now famous CPAC pollster, Tony Fabrizio. Tony?
Thank you. I almost feel like President Obama here with the teleprompters. And they're empty, like much of his words. We were backstage a moment ago and we were talking about the first time we did a straw poll result. And I remember there were 10 reporters, Dave Keene, who you all remember as the previous chair of ACU, and we had only 400 people that participated in the straw poll. Boy, have things changed over those years. And that's congratulations to all of you and the job you've done. I want to thank again Al for letting us do this, and of course Tom, the Washington Times, for so generously this year adding a new element to our polling regime for CPAC. Two new things this year, quickly. One is, those of you who voted know that we have moved into the 21st century. We conducted the straw poll online for the first time. And thank you all very much for those of you who have participated and for your patience. We tested this down in Florida at CPAC in Florida, and it worked there, and it worked here this year. It allowed us to conduct the survey from 9 a.m. on Thursday. We didn't close the balloting until 1 o'clock, which means everybody who wanted to vote got a chance to hear every one of the presidential candidates before they voted, before voting ended. In addition to conducting the straw poll a different way, with the help of the Washington Times, we were able to conduct a corollary poll, telephone survey, much like the media releases, of, those R's are right, theirs are wrong, of self-identified conservatives nationally. And we did this, and we asked the same questions, a battery of questions, to both the telephone survey respondents and the same we asked to you. So that is what I want to share with you today. And what you'll see is that there are a lot of commonalities, there are some differences, but at the end of the day, writ large, or the activists in this room, conservatives are all moving in the same direction. So let me start, if it's up there, can I have the, there it is, okay. First, let me talk about how many participants took the straw poll this year. This year we had 3,408 people participate in the straw poll, which is the second highest straw poll turnout in the history of CPAC. So give yourselves a big hand for that one. The type of people who participated in the straw poll, very similar to what we've seen in previous years. Roughly 45% were individual registrants, another 44% were students, 8% 8% were with participating 8% were associated with participating organizations, and 4% were co-sponsors themselves. Now, the next set of slides I'm going to show you compare the data between the straw poll and the national survey. And here's the first one. What are your core beliefs? And to boil it down, there were 3 fundamental choices. I believe in the free markets and individual freedom, and that's my core belief, to reduce the size of government. My goal is to promote traditional values, protecting the lives of the unborn, stopping gay marriage, and the last is security, anti-terrorism, protect the homeland. And as you can see, the straw poll responded, 63% said smaller government, personal freedom. Conservatives nationally, the plurality said the same thing. So while slightly different margin, the same overall thing motivates both groups of people. Let's talk about our friend, the future former occupant of the White House, Barack Obama. Now, I will say that your fellow conservatives, by the way, we're going to give out names. We want to find the 19% of the people in the national survey who even approved of him, but, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion, even if it may be wrong. But for the people in this room, it is virtually unanimous. He has no approval for the job he is doing. But even 8 in 10 people disapprove of him among your fellow conservatives. Now, here's an interesting result. We asked about the job approval of Republicans in Congress. And it's interesting. While there was some difference on Obama, there is some difference here too. And as you can see, by a pretty wide margin, you all are much more supportive of what the Republicans in Congress are doing versus your fellow conservatives out throughout the country. And that is very interesting. That either means that they are perceiving something differently about what the congressional Republicans are doing than you all are, who are the real central activists of the party. But whatever the case may be, the fact that national conservatives are somewhat less pleased with what the Republicans in Congress are doing should be a warning sign for them over the next several months. We then asked a couple of questions about priorities, And the priorities we asked about were, what was more important to you? Passage of a balanced budget amendment, enactment of a national debt reduction plan, passage of a tax reform plan. And as you can see, for both groups, debt reduction and balanced budget amendment were more important than passage of tax reform. It is a central theme that we see consistently, and that is conservatives want to see government spending and debt reined in and taken away from Congress. But if you did prefer a tax reform program, what would it be? And as you can see, both groups, both the straw poll participants and your fellow conservatives nationally, both favored a flat tax over a national sales tax. Now we start to get to the juicy stuff. As you remember, if you took the straw poll, one of the questions we asked, who would be your choice for VP for the Republicans? And interestingly, your fellow conservatives had the same idea that you all did. And that is Governor Chris Christie from New Jersey, Governor Bob McDonnell from Virginia, Congressman Paul Ryan, whose name we heard last year. By the way, you'll notice that your fellow conservatives out across the country are a lot more undecided than you all are. One of the things that's true, you all have opinions. They need your help. They need to learn from you all. But interestingly, we got a high number of people who chose to volunteer a name for vice president. And I will tell you what an impressive list it was. It went all the way from Alan West to, believe it or not, Donald Trump. He got fired. The two leading contenders of write-ins for vice president, Alan West and Rand Paul. You'll also remember, we asked the question, and you notice I'm putting off telling you the presidential results as long as I can. Sorry, I'm teasing. We also asked the question, which is more important to you in selecting a candidate for president? Is it the candidate's positions on the issues, or is it their ability to beat Barack Obama? And you know what? Both groups were in lockstep. It is a candidate's positions on their issues. So when the media says that it's electability that is driving this presidential campaign, they're wrong. So now the moment you've been waiting for. So I've broken it into 2 slides so I can tease you even a little bit more. Because they allow me to do this here. The first slide I'm going to show you is the national survey of your fellow conservatives. Okay? And I think you'll see you have a very, very close contest. Very, very close contest. But Governor Romney edges out Senator Santorum. Now, for you CPAC attenders, the results just to share this, demographically, the group here, there were too many age groups to list them all out, you wouldn't be able to read it, but the big break here in the age groups were under 55 and over 55. And as you can see, the straw poll attenders, 83% of the people who voted in the straw poll were under the age of 55, compared to only 41% of fellow conservatives. So the group here, while younger than the larger conservative audience, still shared virtually the same positions, the same opinions, and the same choices. So that is good news going forward generationally. And last but not least, gender. The national survey was split roughly between males and females, whereas the CPAC straw poll participants skewed males 60-40. Thank you all for your patience. See you next year.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you all. Yeah, exactly. She's coming. She's coming. She's coming. Ladies and gentlemen, to introduce our guest speaker, I want to introduce my co-chairman of CPAC, a lady who's given her all to this project for many years, a beloved and hardworking leader, Millie Hollow. Millie? Well, she's usually on time.
This is the moment that the lamestream media is going to go absolutely nuts about. For the past 3 days, we have been Romneyed, Santorumed, Bachmann, we've been caned, we've been carried. We've even been nuded and sort of pawed. Right? And they've all been spectacular. But let's be blunt. They can all be easily categorized, much more than this last speaker. She has heard has heard the beat of a very different drummer, and it's one that resonates with all of us independent thinkers. It resonates with politicos and with non-politicos. She is the embodiment of the Leave Us Alone Coalition, limited government, personal responsibility. She has the pioneer spirit of a true Alaskan, that fierce Alaskan heart that she loves to talk about. And you know what? She's wise, women, she's wise, only as a mom and a woman can be. And now she is savvy, tested, and toughened as only one who has had her life played out in a nasty, double-standard national campaign. Yeah, but you know what? Something happened along the way of that losing campaign. People started to listen to Sarah more. People started to value her point of view more. People started to love Sarah more. An independent spirit, a conservative thinker, and a force that will not be silenced. She has our gratitude, and she has our love. Let's show a CPAC welcome for Governor.
Protecting our Second Amendment rights. Thank you, Millie. She is not just a mama grizzly, she's a mama grizzly who's probably packing. So don't mess with Millie. Truly, I thank you so much, and I am honored to get to be here. The last time I was in DC, my family and I were here cruising on Harley Davidsons with Rolling Thunder, which is the rally to honor America's finest, our United States military, our veterans. Nothing says America louder or prouder than chopped Harley hogs, driven by our heroes, those vets. Now, when we were here last, my husband Todd, he was able to drive one of those 400,000 machines that day. He traded in the bike, though, for a snow machine this week. He's back home gearing up for his 2,000-mile race across Alaska, the Iron Dog, so he couldn't make this trip. My girls are here, though. They were with me at Rolling Thunder. Bristol and Willow are here with me somewhere today, out here. Do you know why Rolling Thunder chose Washington for their rally? They wanted to make their engines their voice. They wanted to rev them at the seat of power. And that's exactly why CPAC started back in the 1970s. Conservatives wanted not so much government, but the Republican Party to hear us. At the 1975 CPAC, Ronald Reagan, he laid out a blueprint for rebuilding the GOP under a banner of bold colors, not pale pastels. And ever since then, CPAC has been the rally for conservative action, and that's why I am glad to be here today with all of you. Now today, the conservative movement has never been stronger or brighter, with people at the grassroots. And yet, the federal government has never cast a bigger shadow. So for the last 3 years, we've been waving a bold banner that shouts, "Don't tread on me." See, the Tea Party rose up because Americans woke up. It is bigger than one candidate. It is bigger than one party. It's about one country united under God. We aren't red Americans. We're not blue Americans. We're red, white, and blue. And President Obama, we agree with you. And we cannot afford 4 more. Candidate Obama, he promised to fundamentally transform America, and that's one promise that he has kept. Transforming a shining city on a hill into a sinking ship. Promising to cut deficits in half, and instead he's piled on trillions more in debt. Trillions more. $135,000 per taxpayer just in this new debt. $3 million more a minute. And no plan to stop it. No plan. No budget. Going on 1,000 and some odd days and still no budget. He mucked it up. This government isn't too big to fail. It's too big to succeed. It's too big to ignore, and it is too big to bear anymore. Now, what did we get in return for the president's spending spree? 8.5% unemployment and 13 million Americans who can't find work. 46 million living in poverty. Now, government dependency under Obama has gone up 23%. And for the first time in our history, folks are fearing that our future is going to be worse than our past. And look around, you can see some decline, you can see failure, but it is not a failure of the American people. It is not a failure of America itself. It is the failure of our leadership. Oh, yes, we do. Oh, yes, we can. Hope and change. Yeah, you gotta hope things change. It's change that we can believe in, change that we need. It's the change I want to talk about today because, to borrow another phrase from our president, we can't wait. Our country hangs in the balance.
Occupy USA, 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 Are you okay?
Yeah, I just had knee surgery.
All right, come on. That's okay. Let's turn you around and get you back seated.
You just won.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
We can't wait. We must come together as constitutional conservatives to save our republic. America has reached her tipping point. The door is open though, folks. Declare it. The The door is open. Now, if they keep trying to tax and take and spend our way to prosperity, we know where we'll end up. Just look to the old world to see the new world's future.
You just knocked that woman out of her chair when you were chasing behind them going out.
Downturns and downgrades.
I know, but you might want to apologize to her.
Far left stream.
This one right here
That's
in
not
the
American
print shirt.
dream. And so
Yeah,
help
your
me
bag
God,
caught it.
it's not a future we will ever accept. Has a different view. It's kind of this conflict of visions thing.